So we're here for the Brightside Tavern Film Festival. We got Mark Kloberg. You're back again. This time you have a documentary. What is this documentary?
The documentary is called Vitriol. And it's pretty much based on just over the last few years, me just seeing people argue online, mainly about politics, timing with the presidential election. Everybody just kind of like losing their minds online. So I just kind of wanted to research that a little more and talk to some people and find out what they knew about it, how maybe it affected them, hear some stories, and go from there. But documentaries, I think, are tough because you don't really write it until post-production.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what it was going to end up being until, I interviewed 4 different people for about an hour and then just narrowed that down to about a 20-minute piece.
And you outline everything beforehand, like what you think is going to happen?
I wouldn't say what I think. So I think I tried to remain as impartial as possible because this is not about my opinion whatsoever. I just wanted to present as many sides to the story as possible. So I had questions, like guiding questions about different topics, like toxic tribalism and all these kind of terms you hear being thrown out there. So I had maybe about 10 or 12 questions, and I sat down with folks for an hour and change, and they told me all about how they felt about it and the stories that impacted them.
No. And Mike, you were one of those people. Where are you right now? You're out in West Virginia, is it?
Oh yeah, man! If you hear the roosters crowing in the background, I'm trying to get so the mic's not picking them up directly.
That's all right.
I was in West Virginia, guys, on vacation, visiting my wife's family.
Oh.
That's awesome.
It looks nice out there. It looks like we got some storms all day here in Jersey, but it looks. How's it been there, Randy?
Beautiful farmland out here, man. Awesome farmland. We do a lot of ATV, and so it's a lot of riding. It's awesome. It's freedom out here. Talking about he's talking about watching people argue on Facebook. That was me, and this is the way I like living. I like living free. I get on my ATV, I make a right. I could go 100 miles and really pass maybe 2 cars. It's insane. It's awesome out here.
Different from Jersey.
A little bit, slightly, definitely slightly different than Jersey. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
But I think I'm in a good spot where you won't hear roosters crow or dogs barking. So let's see. I think I'm as far away I won't affect anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex, and you did the voiceover this time around, and
I did the narration. I'm also honored to be one of the producers on it. Mark approached me and said, "Hey, I got this idea. I'm getting a couple of folks who I know from different political stripes, and we're going to sort of ask them some questions and put them together, get some ideas about how people have and about things that they speak to a sense of narrative, like, hey, I'm a right-leaning person, and this is kind of what that is, or I'm a left-leaning person, this is kind of what that is." But it's fascinating to hear both Mike and the other lady who was representing sort of the left side of things speaking. And what you find that's surprising is the amount of commonalities that people have just as people, outside of the particular political stripes of what happens. And I just found that eminently fascinating, as it kind of restores my faith in humanity to a great degree, because it's like, we become so polarized, and especially online, where you don't see people, you just see some dude with a name or some woman with a name, and you just want to hurl obscenities at them, But at the end of the day, it's like, as people, it's a different story, and a lot of times it is, and that's a good thing, in my opinion. So I'll get off my soapbox now. Yeah.
So
what you said was correct, man. There's a lot of commonalities to it. There's a lot of commonalities to everything, and what Mark did, I think, like what I was trying to get, like with when he brought it to me, was to show that Facebook and the social media is the worst form of communication. It's the absolute worst. All it does is highlight our differences. That's all it ever did, is highlight every little tiny difference. And everybody loves labels, and they love groupthink. And social medias are very good at labeling you and forcing you into a corner and making you represent that corner and that corner only. When people don't realize, like, everyone's so close. And I haven't seen the film. I can't wait to watch it. But sorry, I just wanted to couple what he said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, Mark, can I talk about one thing that came up in the movie, or do you not want me to talk about it? So this is just something I've been thinking about, and I don't want to derail the whole thing, but Mike, you said a comment that I found absolutely fascinating, because I was thinking about it myself. I'm Southeastern European. I'm Romanian and down that way. You're Italian. And it was interesting when you said, as an Italian, I never really thought of myself as a white person. But when I took on the white person thing, I took on the white person's goals and ideals. And so it becomes this is sort of a certain mantle you can kind of take on, but it's not maybe really who we are as people. Like, you know, I never really consider myself white per se. You know, I was Southeastern European. I mean, you know, I walk into an English country club, they're going to want me to wash the dishes. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of like, it's not I'm, you know, I never really saw myself in that sense. So especially with the whole idea of white privilege these days and all the things that means, it's an interesting concept to kind of root around and just say, what is that really at the crux of it?
I remember talking to Mike. So we did the interview in October, I think it was, and I sat down with Mike summer before that just to like bring the idea to him, and he told me something that didn't make the documentary, but we played baseball together. That's how I know Mike for many years, and somebody on the baseball team would always label himself, I'm a hardcore liberal, and when Mike said that, and then he's like, then they went out for beers afterwards and they were talking. He's like, we barely have any differences whatsoever, and like he's labeling himself a liberal, and I know Mike doesn't actually label himself anything. He's just going topic to topic. But it was so interesting. If you get in a room with somebody and you talk to them, you realize how much closer you are. But Mike's right. It's like everything's exaggerated on Facebook. It just, you know, focuses on these hyper differences that we might have, or we actually don't have.
And we grew up at a different time.
Toxic tribalism. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what it is. It's toxic tribalism. Like what you said. Sorry, Alex. It was that whole thing about being similar, being whiteness. Like, what is white? I always ask people that. Like, define these things for me. You can't. And when you get into that box, when you get into fighting for that box, when you've been labeled something, and I got caught in it, and you're fighting in that box, and you really don't even know what you're fighting for at that point. You're just arguing with people on Facebook just to kind of argue with them. And I love arguing, don't get me wrong, but when I started fighting for things that really didn't make sense to me, that's when to me it got toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got real toxic to myself, and I had to kind of back myself up and seeing the trap I was kind of falling into. You know, that's when I started the show and kind of went crazy, you know, on my podcast about everything, social media and tyranny and the whole 9 yards. So,
and we grew up at a different time. We didn't have any of that stuff. So it's like these kids today, that's all they have. So they're so different, you know. It's grow up different. They're gonna be different. But I mean, I just remember life without all this stuff. It was a lot different. I was in college
right now.
Yeah, like that. Like, or even in college though, even like. I didn't know who's, you know, what you thought or whatever like that, or I never argued on there was no online or anything like that. So it was a lot easier, I think, back then. Now everybody's got to know everything about everything. So,
and it's all fake. It's all made up. It's all make believe. You know, it's all none of the things you see on social media are reality. That's why, like when Mark said, when you sit down and talk to people and really digest what you have to say and what you have to say, everybody's thoughts are so much closer than what the media makes out, what politicians make out. We're not in these boxes, and we paint ourselves in these boxes all the time. It's very concerning. It's very vitriol, I think, is the perfect name for it, because it really is. You're caught up in it. It's great. You guys did a great job.
Thank you so much, and we loved your involvement in it, man. Really, we couldn't have done it without you. And I mean, you know, both you and the other person are extremely well spoken, and she's a comedian and a stand-up comic. So you know, she's got some very interesting points of view. I hope you guys get to meet sometime, because I'm sure you'd have fun chatting and throwing a couple of drinks back.
You know, that would be good to film, honestly.
Oh, I think it would be very cool, actually. It would be very cool.
That conversation, I bet that's a conversation that needs to have. And if she's a comedian, then she's not afraid of the truth, you know, and I'm definitely not afraid of the truth. So, you know, we don't have truth in this world anymore. There's no truth behind anything anybody says or does. Like I said, even online, everything's fake online. Everything's fake. We're living in a big fake world. Everything's made up and fake. And I'm sick of it. I'm trying to unveil the curtain of it. And I love that, you know, I like I said, I appreciate you guys involving me in this thing. It was awesome.
Totally, man. Totally.
I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. August 1st, right? August 1st.
Yeah, August 1st. It's going to be the last film of the night, I believe.
It won't let you down. Trust me, it's really good. I just saw it, just even the rough cuts, and it was just really good.
Yeah, Alex saw the version without himself on it. So then we went up to I went to his apartment. We did like a test run, and then we went into an actual studio and did his parts. He's got 4 parts. What are they, about a minute each? And he has like the thread, the vocal thread that kind of binds it all together into like a digestible piece. So
Now, Mark, you actually, do you have any
So there's
music
narration,
on this?
you're
Any
a narrator?
score? Yeah, he's
I am. I'm an actor as well as a bunch of other stuff in the entertainment sphere. So, and Mark and I have done a couple of movies together. I don't know if you saw any of his other movies, but I'm in a couple of them, and we got a couple coming up. So,
Couple coming up,
it's going to be really, really cool.
What about the music for it? Did you?
there's actually a lot of music in it. So there's like an opening piece, there's a end credits piece, and then I guess 5 out of the 7 interview segments have an underscore to it. So my buddy Pete did about half of those, and then I have somebody else who did the other half.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So what else? So how many people did you interview? You said 4?
Yeah, so we had 4 people, and to avoid the label part, 2 of them lean a little bit more towards the right, and 2 lean a little bit more towards the left, which kind of goes out the window when you actually see the thing, because people are, arguing different points that you would never think that they would be on that side of an issue. So it was, that was like to Alex's point and Mike's point about, we don't know and things are changing. But so it was a comedian girl, Nina Karufa, who has
thank you for putting her name, because I just hate to call her this lady, because I was blanking on her name. She was wonderful. I was there actually when she was doing her interview, and she's absolutely lovely. So much fun to chat with her. So
yeah, she went out to Dave Chappelle's Ohio thing, and she was like opening over there and stuff, and she's kind of exploding right now, so it's kind of cool to have her involved. And then Joey Rulo, who ran for New Jersey
Governor, yeah, we know Joey.
in 2017, he got 7% of the Republican vote,
something like that. Yeah.
A little piece of the action.
Yeah.
And then I needed like an academic, somebody to ground the whole thing. So I had the director of cyber psychology from NJIT. It was a brand new program, and I was like, they're never going to talk to me. And I emailed the head of it, and she's like, sure, when? I was like, okay, that's cool. So she kind of like gives us like the definitions of what toxic tribalism is and what all these terms mean, which kind of makes it more digestible for somebody who might not be aware of all these things.
And Mike, where did you get interviewed?
I got interviewed in my house.
No.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Mark came over with a whole lot of equipment, took him a couple hours just setting it up. I didn't think I was worth all that, but apparently I am. It was awesome. I dressed up for the occasion. I actually shaved, got my hair cut. It was good, man. Let me tell you, it was an awesome experience just because he came so prepared. He did like a pre-interview with me, just I guess to kind of get the feel of it, and he really took that and developed like really good in-depth questions to kind of make me think on the spot. And I think he got a lot. I don't know what I sounded like or looked like on video. I'm anxious to see it, honestly, but I remember it being a very, very, very good conversation. I always have a lot to say, and he definitely put me in positions to speak. And I think it went longer than we were planning, right? Didn't you go longer than we were planning, Mark?
Yeah, we were looking to fill up 1 card. I think we filled up almost 2 cards.
Wow. So it's hard. You got all this information and all these interviews. How do you cut it down to 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, that's rough because I remember. I think I told Mike my intention was like 15 minutes, but I have over an hour with everybody, and there's just so much to say. And I didn't want it to be wordy, but it's not like because I'm able to pick the best of like little snippets that sound good and find the different things they talk about and pit them against each other in one segment and then find their similarities in another segment. Like there's a point where it's not a question. Mike brought up Cardi B interviewing Joe Biden or something. And I was like, I'm probably never going to use that, but it's hilarious. It's like comic relief because we're talking about a serious subject and then Mike starts talking about Cardi B. And I remember that because then I did Nina after Mike, and I was like, let me just see what she thinks about this. So I wrote that question down, and then that's a segment in here. So like everything's so serious, and then they go back and forth on Cardi B interviewing Joe Biden, which is kind of like hopefully the audience will find that as like an exhale for a little bit. It's funny. It's good.
I can't wait to see this thing, man. I really can't wait to see this.
It's exciting, man. It's super fun.
I was getting pictures. I was getting pictures of like who he was interviewing, and I was like, "This is going to be amazing!" Like when it's done, it was, I've known Mark a long time, and I'm just honored to be one of his shows. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what made you want to do this documentary? I know you've done documentary in the past, and you're doing a lot of films, and all of a sudden you're like, documentary.
You could tell from Alex and Mike, it bothers you, seeing how people act like that. I just wanted to explore that. I had come off another documentary, the one I made about heroin with my sister's friend passing away. And Mike had talked about, it took us about an hour or two to set up, which is such a luxury because when I interviewed those folks, I'm going into their house and interviewing them about their daughter who just passed. So I'm not going to take an hour or two to set up, right? I'm in and I'm out. It took me 5 minutes. I hit power and we went. The lighting was shit. This one, we took our time in the lighting. So it looks a lot better.
Oh, way better. Yeah, no doubt. No, and I think it's because it's a good topic now. It's something that is in the zeitgeist. People are talking about it. So I think, it's got legs. People are going to want to see this thing. So, yeah.
And how was getting it done and filming it during the pandemic?
That was tricky because we did the interviews in October. Mike's wasn't a big deal because, he's in the next town over. He's in Brick. I'm in Toms River.
Yeah.
And then the other folks, we went up to Union City. I'm friendly with Lucio Fernandez, who's the commissioner in Union City, and he always lets me use that museum place for auditions or whatever. So I met Nina there, and I met the professor there. So it wasn't a big deal. It was just me, Ryan Scott, who was a gaffer, and then I had this guy Jay who came and helped every now and then. It was just me and Ryan and Mike, but Jay Lou. Yeah. It was a 3-man crew most of the time.
Yeah, that's good that you could do that in interviews and documentaries. You don't have to have a big crew for that, so it seemed to work out pretty well for you.
Yeah, and then we just been editing it since October, and here we are. Was it 8 months later? So. And
this is the first screening.
Yeah. Like there was opportunities to do in September, and I wanted to get it out because I don't know if I was in the film, like if I was Mike or if I was Nina, I'd be like, what the hell's going on? Let's see this thing already. So I just wanted to get a screening so where people can see it.
Awesome.
And I got to send it over to Chris. you have it, right? I got to send it over to Chris to put it into the system. Huh?
What did Mike say?
I missed it.
I said I wasn't in a rush, man. I know how you work. You're busy, so I was looking at it as I couldn't wait. Don't get me wrong. You said you wanted it out earlier in the beginning of the year, but I figured with how much time you spent, it was going to take forever. I'm not in a rush to see it. I'd rather like a real high quality product. I
wanted to wait till theaters opened up. I didn't want any bullshit online festival, so I was waiting until first opportunity.
Yeah, you don't like that, do you?
I saw that CJ's Bright Side was opening up. I'm like, all right. He's played my films before.
CJ has such a good vibe at the festivals that he has, especially this one because it's a bar festival. So it's so much fun. People have a good time, and it's like a great it's a serious subject, but then you can do it drinking a beer, and you can hanging out and having something to eat. So it's a fun kind of thing, and it doesn't. It's a great festival that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's a nice time to be out there. So
and we're excited
forward to that. Yeah.
Excited to be fully back too. There's no online stuff anymore for us.
No.
So it's all there. Everyone's going to be watching all their films. So hopefully we get a good crowd. We'll see. So we did the partial last time, and we had a pretty good crowd. So we're hoping, good crowd this time around. We'll see. So hopefully we can get this out there and promote a little bit and see and people come and see it for the last set. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that's because I'm gonna be there.
I think he's breaking up. I think he said he's going to be there early. If that's what you said, Mike, I'll be there early with you.
We will be watching. Oh, I lost them there. We'll be watching films all day. There he goes. Back in. Yep.
Okay.
Hey, say what you said again at the end. We didn't catch that.
Oh, I said, what time is the last set?
You think?
About.
I offhand, I'm not sure. It's
Wasn't it
only like 4 o'clock or something like that.
4:15?
because- Yeah, 4:15 or
Got
something like that.
baseball?
Because I think the award show's at like 6. So
Mike, you got a game?
Probably, but I have plenty of time. I'll finish the game and head up.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what you guys came up with.
So if you come later and it's like the last film, you got all that, and then we have the award show, and then we hang out after. So
No, they play
Well,
like
if you have
9.
an award show, I kind of want to get there and compare myself to and compare these guys to the other ones. So I want to get there early to check out the other ones too. You know, I think everybody should go there and then participate in the award show. Yeah, that would be nice.
Siege, do you have a lot of other documentaries?
we don't have that many documentaries, so it's which is odd because we usually do have some, but it's a weird. It's going to be a weird fest because we have so many, oddly enough, high school and college sets. So that's all day one, and then all day two is all the regular films. And there's some weird films. There's some films that are like what we're doing right now that are actually movies because it was during the pandemic. So we have some of those. So it's a weird range of them. So we're hoping, and already though for the next one in March we got some powerful films coming out. So people are filming, and they're just wait till the next one's going to be even crazier. So we might have to expand days because this movie's just pouring in now, which is a good thing.
Very good. Back to normal.
Back to normal. That's what it feels like. And there's less movies like this of us just talking and reading lines, because that's kind of a lot of films were like that because that's how they were doing it. They were like acting out their parts and then putting one person on the screen, then the next. So there are some movies like that.
Yeah.
So
I guess if you edit them right.
yeah, if you had it, and then it's just the way it was for a while. But I'm like after this one, I don't want to see any more of those anymore. I want that to be over. But we'll see. But there's some good stuff, and we're just gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be all day long. So I got a lot of awards and everything too. So
Glad to be a part of it.
yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If anyone's around for the Saturday, the college set films, even the high school are pretty good, but the college set films are so good. They really and they really did productions during all this. They were able to pull it off, where a lot of people in the world out there, filmmakers weren't able to. They were able to use their equipment and put people together and make some really strong films.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah,
it's
that
going to
coming
be
off COVID. It's going to be righteous. You have a lot coming out.
yeah. So I'm excited to see the documentary on the big screen in the festival. So
It's a big screen.
It's-
It's
well,
like a legit movie theater we're going to.
well, not really, but not really. It's a bar, but it's a big screen. It's
Hey, any screen bigger than a 42-inch, flat screen is going to be awesome. Even seeing myself on that will be great. So I can't wait.
yeah.
I'm excited.
Packed. No, Mike, we'll get in the theater in the fall, late summer.
Oh
fall.
no, I don't care, man. I was just joking around. Like you had me excited when you said big screen. I was like, to see myself on a screen like that, that's gonna be righteous.
Yeah, so it's going to make its rounds. It's going to make its rounds around here and everywhere else. So it's exciting times.
Exciting.
Any other festivals coming up, Mark?
No, I submitted. Was it new? Was it called New Filmmakers New York, which plays
Yeah.
at Anthology Archives,
Okay.
and they just have a backlog because they're screening films from COVID. They played them online. They promised everybody they were going to play them in person. But Anthology Archive, that's a great venue in Manhattan. So we're in there. We just got to wait for our showtime. It could be anytime, late this year or earlier.
Is that for this film or another film?
for this film?
Mhm.
And I submitted it to about maybe 8 more. And then as I look for early bird deadline, whatever, the cheap one, save some money because the shit's expensive. So,
Yeah. There's a New Jersey Doc Fest that my students got into, and it was delayed, but it's this summer in July. But I think the next round will be quicker than that. But it's
that's
a
on
New
my
Jersey
list,
Doc.
yeah. We'll submit there. We did Jersey Shore, so that'll probably be like Asbury or something.
And I think
Awesome.
we're trying to shoot for Doc NYC and some of those other ones as well, when those come around.
I hope AC Cinefest comes back. That's the one I'm waiting for.
There's just so many good ones out there that this thing would be great for. I think it would just fit the mold of kind of what they're looking for, and topic matter couldn't be better. So
absolutely, maybe some LA Fest. We can go travel out to LA.
Well, that's for
check
sure.
that out.
I'm down.
Yeah. That's always fun. That's always my excuse. I'm like, get a film, get it in LA. We'll all go out there and have a good time.
LA's great. I mean,
Yeah.
LA, and Arizona's got some pretty cool festivals. I went to Mesa for their first year. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of great ones. We'll get Mike in on the festival circuit of going and seeing all these movies and having a good time. So
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anything else you
don't twist my arm to go to Arizona.
Mark, anything else you want to add or promote or anything like that?
No, I mean, just, me and Alex just shot a movie called There's Something Wrong with Paul, which is a narrative piece. We shot that back in April. And I've just ignored that. I put it on the back burner because I've been doing final audio mix on this thing. So when I send Chris the link, it'll like be right out of the audio mix.
There's people yelling in the background there.
You can hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my wife's family. We're about to take off on the ATVs right now.
Oh wow.
Oh, cool, man. Cool.
That'd be a great way to sign off. Just drive off into the sunset.
It would. I could get on it and start riding, man. That would be great.
Yeah. So
Mic drop moment. Yeah.
that would be a great way to end it, right? That would be the best. So, Mike, do you have anything you want to add to it?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm really stoked to see what these guys could do. I know how talented Mark is. I've never met Alex, but he looks. I mean, you look like the part, man. Honestly, you look like you know what you're talking about. Only thing I would say, if I could promote my show, man, Calderese Unleashed, on every major podcast. It's a no BS. I think one of the reasons why Mark had me on the show is because I speak honest. I speak the truth. There's no holds barred, So if you're looking for a real show, we have a lot of fun. We make fun of basically all the news, both sides. I make fun of everybody. If there's something to make fun of, we will make fun of it, regardless. So if you're looking for something like that, and you love the vitriol and everything on Facebook, we get into all that on the show. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity on both of them, on this show and for the documentary. It's going to be awesome.
Where do you do your podcast out of?
Actually, my neighbor does it. Is my co-host. So we built a new shed in his backyard. That's like our studio. And we have a legit studio now. It started. The show started off basically me yelling into my phone, all irritated with Murphy and all the lockdowns and the COVID stuff. It really set me off. So I started off with like Anchor, just yelling into my phone.
Yeah.
And then it grew from there. I started getting better mics and better systems, and then we built that. We insulated it really good. Our sound's really good, and we're about to move to video. I just have to get busy Mark over there to set me up with camera angles and stuff. I know nothing about that. I'm a mason contractor. So basically all I do is build beautiful stuff and talk into the mic. It's great. I have a great life. And ride quads in West Virginia.
This is a great thing to do video. This is StreamYard, and it usually works very well. And this is where we podcast off of quite often. And we have a studio too, but we do this a lot at home as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I'd never seen this, so thank you. I learned a lot too. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely. And lighting is the most important thing, Mike. You get the lighting down, and that's so huge. People ignore that for the most part, but I think
my apartment's really dark, but I got a little tiny light right here that brightens me up. So
exactly. Do you see my lighting and Mark's lighting? This is difference between good lighting and Mark's lighting.
I have other lights I should set up, but I get lazy, and I'm like, at least as long as it's on me, the light, the background, I don't care about.
No, I'm joking. Actually, Mark's lighting, more of that white light is kind of what you want. But this is part, yeah, absolutely. And maybe we'll do your podcast sometime. That'd be fun.
Listen, anytime you guys want to come on my show, and listen. The reality is, you guys could pick the topic. I like having the guests pick the topic because I can get very controversial very fast. So you guys could pick the topic. We could have fun. I could literally talk about basically any topic. So I like it. I love conversation. I love open conversation and honest conversation. So you guys are more than welcome anytime you want. I do it at weeknights at 8:00 usually.
Cool.
We do 2.5 hour shows. I try getting 2 out a week, but it's been so busy at work. We get 1 2.5 hour show out a week, which is good.
That's excellent, man. You can do that much per week. That's great. That's more than most people do by a
Alex,
long shot.
there's a couple people on our little circuit here who I'd like to see go head to head with Mike.
Well, whether they can do it successfely is a different question.
No, I know
but
they can.
I'm sure a lot of them will be your Huckleberry, Mike, but maybe not for very long. And so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I'm pretty good. I said I'm pretty good, man.
I know, because I saw you.
It's funny you said it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you know your stuff. You're well documented, so that's hard to combat, And yeah, it's an interesting thing. So.
And you said 2.5 hours. It's funny because my co-host and I will literally we won't have anything to talk about. We just say hit record and let's just start BSing. And next thing you know, we blink and we're an hour and 45 minutes into it. And then we listen back to. I don't even remember half the stuff we say. I listen back to it at work and kind of grade myself out on how good I think I did and if I made myself laugh. But no, we could do it relatively easy. My wife sits there and goes, "How do you have this much to talk about?" I said, "I don't know. I just do. Things come out of my mouth." Mark spent plenty of time with me sitting at the bar after baseball games to know I don't shut up, especially with a couple beers in me or whatever. But yeah, it's awesome. We have a good time with it, man. If you ever want a fun listen, you can listen to Calderisa Unleashed, man. It's a good time.
Awesome.
I love it. Siege, you put his podcast link underneath or something, or
Yeah, I'll have to do that. We're not live, so it's recorded, so I'll put it up.
Yeah.
I always sometimes I forget, but I'll put it up. Yeah, this is a little different than the live show that we do. So just recording. This is I do a podcast too, Cullen on Film, and this is Brightside Tavern Interviews, so it's a little different.
Okay.
So
nice. And what was the name of that?
Cullen on Film.
Cullen on Film. Okay, cool. I'll check
Cullen
it out.
on Film's my
That's on
podcast.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, Facebook. So we're actually going to Texas in a couple days here, and I'm doing a podcast down there on New Jersey, and Kevin Smith and all that with Ming Chen from Comic Book Man and me and a couple other people are going to join me, and so we're doing it at Comic Palooza in Houston. So I'm excited for that. So it's a lot of fun going to places and doing it. It's a lot of fun, and we get into a little audience too, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's kind of the new thing. Actually, do the podcast live with an audience. So that's cool. And then they asked me to. I'm going to be doing some panels as well, which is that's what I wanted to do and get a chance to do it. So it's fun. So that's this week during in Houston.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he froze.
Frozen out.
So what about you, Alex? What's going on with you? Any promote anything?
There's a couple things that are on the cusp. I have a feature film that we're in the process of writing right now, which is going to be awesome. And it's a kind of a dark comedy / noir. And I've got a short film that I'm working on. Mark and I are working on, which we're going to do in the next couple of months. And outside of that, got a couple things that I'm doing as an entertainment attorney, and I've got a couple of features under my belt right now in a documentary. So very psyched that I could, start doing that as well as acting. So pretty fun stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to get into whatever people need. So yeah, very fun.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining me for a little while here today, and I'll try to get this up before I go away on vacation tomorrow. So we'll see if I can do it later or sometime tomorrow, and get it up there on the Brightside website as well as Facebook. So
Cool.
So thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to see your film as the last set in the last film in the last set, right, at the Brightside Tavern on August 1st.
August 1st. Sounds great.
Thanks, CJ.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one.
Thanks for having me.
Cool.
Bye.